Alrighty, we have what I guess is our first fan interview. We have Emmy with us. She went and did the whole 72 hours of June in person, which is I think I would say for most of our listeners would be like a dream to do. So thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today, or with me today.
Yeah, 72 hours of racing. Actually, way more than that because you have all the support races that you're there for as well. So I think easily over 100 hours of racing that I saw,
That's so crazy.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Can you just, I guess, start with telling the listeners a little bit about yourself, like how you got into racing, who some of your favorite drivers are, what's your favorite series, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think it all started when I was maybe 6 years old, and I was one of those 6-year olds that gets up stupid early in the morning. I'd be up at like 5 a.m. and it was like one Sunday I got up at 5 a.m. and I saw this really long program on the TV, and I thought it was a film. It happened to be the 2009 Australian Grand Prix, um, and so I watched it, and I thought it was incredible. And I saw this British guy leading it, Jensen Button, and I've been hooked since. And then maybe around 2017, 2018, it really got the ball rolling because I found out about the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and then I found out about sports car racing, and it just kept and then I found out about more racing, and now I'm like watching like 8 races a weekend, like most of the year. So
We're
it's
big fans of 2018 Le Mans on this show.
uh,
So yeah, that's it reminds me so much of when I was young, because living in the US, all of the everything is on at an inconvenient time, pretty much.
oh yeah, I could
Wex
imagine.
in Brazil this week, and it's finally a convenient
Oh,
race. And then everything else is I gotta wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. The
oh, it's
Australian stuff for me is at midnight. So
I never realized how it's inconvenient, but you don't realize how much it is until I got into American sports,
yeah.
like IndyCar, but then also the NFL, and I've
Mm.
started paying more attention to the NBA recently. Not watching
Who are
it,
your
but
teams? Who's your
um,
football team and your basketball team?
oh, this is going to be controversial because I started following the NFL at about the same time, about 2017, and the only team I'd ever heard of was the Kansas City Chiefs. So I started supporting them right at the perfect time. So I've experienced none of the lows and all of the highs of that. I'm sure I'm sure it'll come crashing down eventually, and we'll get that period of 30 years that after a dominant run where you just get no good draft picks. And
I'm a New England Patriots fan, so we are in the other end of that.
yeah, you're in the
I
post
had my
domination.
whole my teenage and adult life being really good, and now it's oh wow, we have a really really good draft pick because we were terrible last year. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's super
oh,
cyclical. So
so but yeah, and then so, and you're it's not the most inconvenient in Europe. It's kind of just late evenings. I think I never watch essentially prime time sports though, because that
mm,
starts at like 1 a.m. here, and I'm like,
yeah.
so, but yeah, it's like I can't imagine getting into things like motorsport when you're young in America, or especially like the Australian fans and stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
because in Australia as well, they've got even less series that they could watch in their own time. They've got supercars, um, and I guess the Japanese series like Formula Super
Yeah,
GT,
Super GT, I
and
guess. Yeah.
that's kind of all they've got. There's other series, but they're not as big.
Right. As
Like
far as
so,
big internationally known series, I feel like
yeah,
you're right. It's those two.
so.
GT World Challenge Asia, maybe?
But
Like
even then, though, that's kind of of
it's
all the
kind of
GT
small.
World Challenges. It's the one
I've
you
got my
don't.
SRO shirt on. I have to
Oh,
mention GT World Challenge if it
uh,
comes up.
oh no, I love the GT World Challenge, but
Yeah,
it's hard to keep track of sometimes.
no, for sure.
But
Um, and then I guess what made you want to go to all three of these races? Like, how did that trip come about?
I think so all the schedules got revealed around this time last year, and everyone went, "Oh my gosh, there's a back to back to back," and obviously immediately talk started going, "Will the drivers do all three?" Because I think it was like within like 2 weeks of the schedules being announced, I think it was like BMW immediately went, "We're not gonna bring a factory team to all three." I think they skipped the Nurburgring. They didn't have a factory team there, if I remember correctly,
Yeah,
but because they were like, we just can't get the cars to all three races. And so it was a lot of talk about who was going to do all three, who would do two, and things like that. And there was a lot of talk about that. And I was like, well, as a fan, it'd be easier because you don't have to do all the logistics, all the training. And this summer, I've just graduated from university. So I've got a pretty free schedule this summer. I
nice.
knew I would.
Perfect
And
timing.
so I was like, well, I haven't been on a proper holiday since before COVID. I'm about to graduate. I've got this really long summer where I'm not going to be doing anything. And there's these three races, all in relatively close proximity to one another, back to back to back weekends. They're all on my bucket list of races I want to attend. Why not? Like, and then I went about sort of planning it and figuring it out and went, this is doable. This is actually like logistically I can do it as a fan and like find places to stay. And so yeah, it was
So
kind
did
of
you
just
drive or take trains, or like how did you get between, cuz like you're based in the UK, right?
yes.
So
So
like getting to mainland Europe and then being there for almost a month, like there's a lot I feel like that goes into that.
yeah, so fortunately, I don't drive. First of all, I
Okay.
took public transport for this whole thing. Fortunately,
Nice.
in Europe, we have what is called an Interrail ticket, which gives you access to go on pretty much any train in Europe within the
Nice.
EU. For I got one that lasts me 7 days, so I can use it for 7 different days within a month. And so that was a big factor as well because without that, it would have been way more expensive to take all those trains. So it's like, but that was really useful for getting about, and I stayed in campsites for the whole time. Even between the race weekends, I was at campsites just because I was trying to basically cut costs wherever I could because I was still doing all of it on student loan money. Um,
Oh yeah.
so I was like cutting costs everywhere I could. I was like finding the cheapest campsites I could. I was finding like the easiest ways to get around places because then I had to now carry a tent and a huge backpack with essentially all my stuff for 3 weeks and another bag because I couldn't fit it all in my backpack. So it was really intense traveling. And there are definitely if I ever go back to the Nurburgring, I'm never doing it by public transport ever again. It's horrible to get to by public transport.
Nürburgring's worse than Spa because I've heard Spa is miserable if you don't have a car.
So Le Mans is easy. Le Mans is there
Right.
is a tram that goes to the track from this main station at Le Mans because it's within the city. Essentially, it's
Yeah.
right on the edge of the city. Le Mans you can get to by public transport. That's no problem. Spa it's not that bad. Um, I think if you know where to look to plan things, I found this website when I was planning everything that had like every bus on it. Like I don't know if it's in the world or just Europe, but it had every bus and every bus stop, and it told you all the timetables. Hey, that was like perfect. But to get to Spa, it's like if you go to Liège in Belgium, it's a pretty big city, so a lot of trains there. You get another train to this other city nearby called I'm going to butcher these pronunciations for all of these called Verviers, and then from there there's a bus to the circuit. So it's only one bus, which is more important
Okay.
than anything. When I was looking at all my travel options, because buses I had to pay for, trains I didn't, so
Right.
like on top of my ticket. But and that's I think the easiest way to get there. You would think getting the train to Spa, the town of Spa, would be easier, but you essentially have to get another bus and then get on the route you would have gotten from Viviers
Oh,
anyways. So when I found that out, I was like, oh, I'll just go to Viviers then. It wasn't too bad. I think it depends where you're coming from to get to all of those like stations and stuff in the first place.
right.
And the bus is only once an hour. So
I mean, that's still not bad though. Like
it's not
people
that
make it
bad.
sound like trying to get to Spa without having a car or a camper is impossible. And from what you just said, that didn't seem that bad at all.
It wasn't that bad. I'm nowhere near as bad as the Nurburgring. So the Nurburgring, when I was researching it, the first thing I did for all of them was look on the websites, and it was like, here's how to get to the track. On the Nurburgring website, when it says how to get to the track, it goes public transport. Don't come here by public transport. Like
Gosh.
it quite literally goes, we strongly do not recommend coming here by public transport.
Wow.
The reason for that was I stayed in Luxembourg for a couple of days between Le Mans and then Nurburgring.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit just to say that I'd been there
Yeah.
whilst I was doing this. And so I basically came on this line that comes up from Luxembourg, and I got off at this town, and then I had to wait almost an hour for the bus. I then had to get a second bus that I had a minute changeover for, and my
Ooh.
bus ended up actually arriving late, but the other bus was also late, so it worked out. And if I'd missed that, I'd have to wait 2 hours for the next one. And then I had to get another bus, and then for that one, I had a 4 minute changeover. And again, if I missed that, it was a 2 hour wait. And if I missed both of those buses, I would have not been able to get to the Nurburgring because of just when I travelled. That was the last bus of the day.
Man.
So I I got so lucky that I didn't miss either of them. I didn't have to do any 2 hour waits. And then getting out, I had to get this bus like for like an hour a different way, because the bus I got up only goes one way except for like in the evening.
Oh,
And I left early on the Monday after the race. So I had to get a different bus for an hour, and then it's like 4 different trains to actually get to the Netherlands, which is where I stayed after that. So yeah,
nice.
if you're going to the Nurburgring, take a car. Don't do it by public transport. They
Okay.
said it on the website,
Yeah.
and yeah, just like go to Cologne or Koblenz and hire a car or something, or just drive there if you live in the continent.
Yeah. So, do you speak German and or French?
Not at all.
Because I that is like the thing I'm concerned about if I go to any of these three races is the language barrier. Was there a language barrier? Did you feel like it would have been easier if you were able to speak German or French?
A lot of vendors spoke English, or had at least one person that spoke English, so that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't an issue. And quite a lot of people speak English. And a lot more people speak English, um, like than English people that speak another language.
Right.
Um, but unfortunately, I did Latin when I was at school, so that's not very useful for speaking any languages. Um, but it was like there were difficulties, mainly because when you're trackside for all the races, you've just got trackside commentary, and so that was in all German for the Nurburgring and all French for Spa. and at Le Mans mostly in French, and then every so often the English, like maybe every half an hour, the English commentary would come on and give an update on what happened. Or if something big happened, they'd come on and they'd give an update on what happened. But the other two had no English whatsoever.
Oh
In
man.
fact, at Spa, they even dubbed over any English interviews that happened. So I didn't even know what was.
What?
It's like at the Nurburgring, the English interviews were just in English, and then at Spa they were dubbing over them, and it was like, no, I want to hear what they're saying. It was like,
That's crazy.
so.
Like
And I mean,
I
you've got
wouldn't have expected that.
I kind of expected it, like, but at the same time, it was so weird. Where it's like the only way I would know something had happened would be because I'd hear like just like exasperations from the trackside commentary. They'd be like, "Oh," and I'd be like, "What happened? What happened?" I'd be trying to find like a big screen nearby to like figure out what happened. Um, so yeah, the language barrier did play a role, and obviously, like when I needed like help with things, if I did, um, it was like I'd have to find someone who did speak English. Like getting around the Nurburgring when I first arrived, there was had shuttle buses, and the driver did not speak any English, and it was like I was trying to figure out where I was getting to.
Oh no.
And it was basically we just pulled up the timetable. I pointed at the stop I wanted, and he pointed at the one we were at, and I just had to count in my head how many we'd gone past. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I'd recommend at least learning basic phrases.
Yeah.
I learnt a few, but definitely not enough where it was like I could really get by. So, but yeah, you can get by with English, but yeah, I did feel a bit rude every single time though.
That's what I'm worried about. Like, so I've been doing Duolingo to learn some French because I do want to go to Le Mans in the next couple of years. And, the thing that you always hear about the French is like how they get rude if you try to speak to them in English. And it's like, okay, but we as English speaking people are going into their country and expecting them to know our language, but we're going to call them rude. So, like, I've been
Yeah, it's like
trying. I can, like, not say anything because Duolingo, like, doesn't get into, like, true conversational stuff until, like, you've been doing it for, like, 100 days. So
oh,
like,
I've
well, I
yeah
only do like one lesson a day, but I'm sure, like, if I book a trip to Le Mans for next year, I'll probably do it a lot more seriously. But yeah,
yeah.
like,
When I go back, and it's definitely a when and not an if. When I go back,
nice.
I'm gonna learn a bit more. I think at Le Mans they're not as bad because they know they're gonna have people that don't speak English, don't speak
Right.
French. So most of the staff there spoke English. It's more
Okay, that's cool.
in the towns, in the
Mm-hmm.
city, you can't expect people to know English. And it's like I'd ask at the start of any conversation, like, "Oh, parlez anglais?" That's like one of the few French things I knew was just to ask if they knew English.
Right.
Um, I think I didn't learn that in German or Dutch, which I probably should have done. I kind of after that I just said English.
I feel like they're
But
gonna know what you're
so
you're asking. So
yeah, like so if they don't know what English means, then clearly they don't speak English.
right.
So, but yeah, language barrier not as bad as it at the tracks, but at other parts it can be.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing that we do a lot when we go to races on this show is like meeting and interacting with drivers. Do you have any like specific interaction, like at the autograph session or at anything at any of the tracks that sticks out to you as like that was so cool?
So I didn't get to see any drivers at Le Mans, unfortunately.
I've heard it's like impossible there, so I
There's
kind
an
of
there's
expected
an
that
autograph
answer.
session on the Tuesday, but that's the day I travelled.
Right.
I didn't see any in the paddock anytime I went through the paddock, and
Mm-hmm.
then I completely forgot about the drivers' parade on the Friday. I went to the track, but the track is open on the Friday, and I really wanted to walk on
That
the
yeah,
track.
you can walk the track, right?
Yeah, so they actually had to close it early this year though because there were thunderstorms.
Right.
But I I had already left by that point because for Le Mans, I didn't manage to get camping tickets because the website, when it opened, was awful and it kept kicking people out mid-order. And it kicked
Mm-hmm.
me out before I could pick camping tickets. And when I got back in, they had all sold out.
They were sold out.
So I was
Yep.
staying in a town just outside of Le Mans. So it meant I had to leave the track early every day, except race day when I stayed for the whole thing.
Right.
But it meant that, but yeah, it was really cool to walk on the track. I think when I go again, I'll do the driver's parade. I think I've been on the track now.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're just going to stay around the pit area, you can go on the track after the race, which I didn't know. So for anyone else that's
Yeah, I
going
don't
in the
think I
future,
realized that either.
that's my advice: is if you only want to go around the pits and stuff, and like around the first couple corners, do it after the race, not on the Friday. Go to the drivers' parade. But at the Nurburgring, I did the pit lane walk, and that was really fun. I saw the 150 team, which is like the YouTuber team with
Yeah,
Super
the
GT and
Jimmy
Jimmy Broadbent
Broadbent.
and Misha.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got them to sign my backpack, my bag,
Oh, that's
which I wish
awesome.
I had on me right now to show off, because I used to have this Andretti Formulary bag and it broke. And I want another racing bag. But like, barely any teams make one. And the ones that do, they're kind of boring. So I
Yeah.
bought a white one and I've designed my own one, and it's got my favorite teams like logos on one strap, and it's got these cars on the back of it that I drew. And then I was like, I'm leaving the other strap empty for signatures when I go to these races. So I got
Cool.
those three to sign it, and then I also got I don't know if he's popular on this show actually. I don't know if you've ever mentioned Kevin Estrada. Uh,
So you've heard our confusion about how to say Kevin's name. Um
yes,
nice. I don't think I realized you got Kevin to sign your bag.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
I
no, we're
specifically went,
only tiny little bits of Kevin fans
yeah. So I
on this show.
Formula One world champion. Um,
Yes, yeah. He's
um,
gonna be so sick of hearing that by the time that I actually show him that shirt at
uh,
Coda, because he like has definitely seen the fact that we make fun of that.
but yeah, I like after I did that, and that was already a super popular team, and it was a nightmare to get to the front of that table. And then I
Yeah.
went, okay, so I'm gonna go see Kevin Estre. The 911 Grello is by far the most popular. I think every third person at the Nurburgring has Grello merch, and that's just people who have the merch. It is by
Yeah.
far the most popular team at the 24 Hours in the Nurburgring. And I was like, yes, I've just been through that crowd. I'm going to go through an even bigger crowd. I managed to before the pit lane like session closed,
That's
and I
awesome.
think it was like an hour and a half long session, and there was maybe 20 minutes left. By the time I got to the front, he was like, he was so done with this signing stuff. He was like, I can't remember who his teammates were. I feel so bad about that. But he was literally saying to his teammates, he was like, "How long's left? 20 minutes. I'm not staying any longer. Like, you guys can.
Aw.
I'm not staying any longer." But he signed my bag. I told him, congrats. I know he wasn't that happy about it. I told him congrats on second place at Le Mans. Um, and I wanted to say, hopefully you do one better at the Nurburgring, like in like the race this weekend. I'm kind of
Yeah.
glad I didn't say that to him, just so he can't blame me for jinxing it. But
Oh man.
yeah, so the
Oh,
worst part of
that
that was I
that
didn't
result was
realize.
something.
I knew they got a penalty. I
Yeah.
thought they had served it. So when they came
Mm.
across the line at the end, I thought they'd won it.
Mm.
And then until the podium celebration, when they announced the winners, and I went, that's not the right car. Did they still have the
Yeah.
penalty? And I literally had to like look it up, like
Yeah,
as it
because
was.
they were appealing the penalty, and the stewards only came back with the nope, your appeal's been declined, like on the final lap. So
Yeah, it
there
was
was
like
no time to serve it.
so.
It was crazy.
I think it was that, and then also 100 seconds for what happened
That's
felt like a lot.
long penalty.
Like a minute 40 is even around the Nurburgring. That's so
A
much. That's
lot.
like
It's
that's
it's
the
it's as a
entire GP
result of the
course. Like
outcome of it, though. Like, that's why. I mean, if that Aston hadn't flipped, it probably
yeah,
would have been a 30-second. Like, but
so
they can't help that the car flipped. Like, that was.
oh
I I have lots of feelings about that
yeah,
penalty, and
it's a weird one. I
it
think
is weird.
yeah, the Nurburgring was the car where I didn't really have any teams I was actively supporting,
Mm-hmm.
so I was just there for the racing. It was great fun.
Nice.
It was like everyone supports the Dacia. I was in the grandstands by turn one for that at the very start of the race,
Yeah.
which was just awesome to see all the cars coming into turn one. Um, but it was like the Dacia obviously didn't get off the grid.
Right.
I don't know if people remember. It's been a few weeks now. The Dacia,
Yeah.
like, it had, I think it was one of its pistons broke or wasn't firing, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like they finally, and everyone was like noticed as the third group went past. They're like, "Where's the Dacia?" There was like a little murmur, and and then like you saw the big screen, and it was like getting a push from the mechanics. And as it came past, it was like the biggest cheer across all three of the races just to see it running. And I was so upset when I found out it had crashed overnight when I woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then Spa. I wish I had more driver interactions at Spa. There were more that I wanted to do, but the driver autograph session on the Friday um, basically went from being like an hour long to about 20 minutes long because
Oh.
the races throughout the day had been red flagged so much. They had lost so much time. So to try and get somewhat back on schedule, so they weren't racing till like 11 p.m., they had to cut like the autograph session really short.
Why is it always the fan stuff that they cut? Because, like, they do that at, like, so many different racing series. It's like, oh, there's supposed to be, driver interviews on the fan stage, and because we're running behind, we're cutting the driver interviews so we can move the session up. And it's like
Yeah,
that's the fan interactions are a huge part to me of going to any race.
I think,
So
yeah. Sometimes it'll
that's
be
unfortunate
something
for you.
hard written in the regulations, like this has to happen X amount of time before.
Yeah.
But like, it was like these two races definitely could have been pushed further back. So it's annoying that they didn't. Um, and they didn't tell everyone either. Like
Oh, so
when it
people lined up
started.
and thought that
So
they were going to be able to.
everyone was kind of like, "Oh, it's over already." Um, so it's like I beelined it straight to the 991
Mm-hmm.
Paradigm competition, which is Jake Dennis's car.
Yes.
Jake Dennis is my absolute favorite driver. Drives for Andretti and
Nice.
Formula season 9 world
Yes.
champion. For anyone who doesn't know, he happened to also be doing the 24 hours of Spa. And I was like, I'm meeting him. I had my Avalanche Andretti, so like the exact shirt that he from the year he won the championship, and I beelined it straight to him. And there was like no one at this table because it was like there's like a few people because he was racing with Sean Glau, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's like a few Sean Glau fans, but he was just like in the zone, like signing the card. Didn't look up until I called out to him. He looked up and he immediately went, "Amazing shirt." And I was like,
That's
yes.
awesome.
One, he realized, and two, he's like he's really happy. And it was like I think it was like because like he just probably wasn't expecting any
It's
fans like
one of my
that.
favorite things to do is bring something from a different series that a driver does to, like, so I at the St. Pete IndyCar race, I brought this IMSA artwork to get Scott Dixon to sign.
Oh, that's
And,
awesome.
he was doing much the same, like just signing, here you go, here you go. And I was like, oh, Scott, I've got this, O1 caddy thing. And we got into a whole conversation about sports car racing off
Oh,
of that. So it is super fun to like surprise a driver with like,
yeah,
hey, I'm not just here because of this. I'm a fan of yours across everything you do.
yeah. And yeah, he was also racing with Toby Sowery, who finally got into IndyCar last year for
Yes.
like what, 3 races, something like
Yeah, a few races.
that. But it was like I was so like fixed on like saying hi to Jake Dennis, I completely forgot in the moment that I was like, because
Oh,
I quite like Toby Sowery. He's quite a nice
yeah.
guy. I know he's good friends with Jake Dennis. So it's like they've done this race together for a few years now. Um, but yeah, like I got to meet Jake Dennis and I like got pictures with him. I got him to sign my bag right by the Andretti logo that I had drawn on my bag. So it's
Nice.
now signed with his name right above the logo. Because I
That's
doubt
awesome.
I'll ever really meet another Andretti driver unless I get lucky. Because unless one of them does Le Mans, or if I ever have the funds to go to America for races.
Yeah.
Because I think, yeah, if I ever go to America, there's so many races in America I'd love to do, and it's like you go to so many that I'm like I want to go to this. It's like I wanted. It's like I want to go to Indy 500, obviously. There's like Petit Le Mans, Sebring. I love Sebring. It's one of my favorite tracks in the world. Like Daytona, both the 500 and the 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like there's so many that I want to do, and it's almost like I wish I was rich and I could just take a year and just go to America for a whole year and just go to like every race that I want to in that year.
Isn't that
Almost
the dream? Like
like,
I say that when I retire, I'm going to try and just spend a year going to races all over the
oh,
world,
it'd be
and it's
amazing.
like it's going to be so
I
expensive.
met someone during the trip that last year went to every F1 race,
That's crazy.
and I just didn't want to ask what they did for a living because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't even know how much that must have cost.
Like
Uh,
F1 is so crazy expensive. I can't even think of doing multiple F1 races in a
it's
season. I
hard
think
enough for like all the team personnel to get to all the races. I don't
right.
like even half the team principals don't anymore. Like that's how hard it is.
Yeah.
It's like not even the
It's
commentators do.
crazy.
Like there is probably maybe like less than 100 people that go to all the races every year.
Mhm.
So in F1 because it's so all over the place more than anything. Like Las Vegas and then the next weekend you're in Qatar.
Right.
So
And like just how expensive the tickets are. I mean,
yeah,
like for Circuit of the Americas is my local race. The general admission tickets are still like $300, and
yeah,
that's just to get into the track. That provides you nothing. It doesn't give you a drinks
it's
ticket, it doesn't give you a food ticket, like so
yeah,
you're probably spending $50 to $100 a day on top of that on food and
yeah.
drink.
I think
It's
yeah,
insane.
it's so weird because I got general admission tickets for these 3 races, and they give you so much access. Like the Nurburgring and at Spa, all the grandstands are just general admission. There's no
Yeah.
grandstand tickets. I mean, I had a general admission and paddock for Spa because I really wanted to go like see this. Like,
Yeah.
I was determined to meet Jake Dennis. I was like, if I don't see him in the autograph session, I'm camping outside their like part of their garage until I
Yeah.
see him. Like it's there is not a world where I didn't meet Jake Dennis. I was making sure of
The commitment's great.
that.
I love
And it
that.
was like €5 more for the paddock entry, so it was like
That's
I'll
that's
take
what
that
I love
absolutely.
about sports car racing is like how accessible and affordable it is. Like
Yeah,
if
I
you're
think
talking about compared to Formula 1, like to get something that gives you a guided paddock access, like one of those paddock club tickets,
yeah,
you're
like
looking at $15,000
it's
at my
ridiculous.
race. And you only get to go in there for like a few minutes and you get brought with like a tour group basically. So you're not going to be able to, if there's not a driver happening to walk by, you're not going to see anybody.
Yeah, it's oh, I think I've never been to an F1 race, And it's one of those things where there are a few F1 races I want to go to, but it's one of those things that I genuinely, there's so many more that I can do. It's like, I could have gone to one F1 race, or I could have
Right.
done this whole tour. It's
Like
like,
I'm going to 11 races this year. One of them is Formula 1.
yeah,
You know, that kind of shows what you're able to do if you branch outside of just paying attention to or wanting to go to Formula 1.
yeah. And there are people that only care about Formula One, and that's like whatever. I don't care whatever
Yeah,
people are into. Like, if people want to
right.
only watch Formula One, because I feel like it's a very slippery slope once you start getting into other things, and it's just hard to keep
Yes.
up with everything. Like, I genuinely couldn't tell you who's leading in any of the WEC championships, but I watch every race. I
Right.
support teams in it. I just, it's so hard to actually keep up with. And it's like, it's the same with IMSA, and that's partly just because IMSA's scoring is insane.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, it's those things where it's like, there are people that just want to watch Formula One, and I can completely understand that because it is hard enough keeping up with one series as it is. Like, so, but it is just so expensive to go to F1 compared to anything else. It's ridiculous. So,
It
but yeah, that's kind
really,
of,
really is.
there's a lot of
But
tangents in that, but that's my sort of driver
no,
experiences. I
no,
wanted to
that
meet
was awesome.
I wanted to meet a few others at Spa, and I just genuinely I ran out of time because it was 20 minutes, and it was like by the time I was done with Jake Dennis, it was like Valentino Rossi was a few tables over. The crowd for that was ridiculous. I was like, "There's no
Yeah.
way I'm getting that through that." Even with if I had 40 more minutes, I don't think I would have met him.
Yeah, his
But
crowds are crazy. I met him in the paddock at Coda at the WEC race last year. But at the autograph session, like his line was as big as the rest of the lines
yeah,
combined. Like it was crazy.
I think the thing is with this one was his garage was the last one on the regular pit lane, and you got in it. The only access to it was at the other end of the pit lane.
Mm,
So it was like the most of the crowd was there, and then when they told everyone that it was time to leave, they had to basically move most of the people in the pit lane down the whole pit lane.
wow.
So it was like, but yeah, I also wanted to meet Kelvin van der Linde because he did all three races, and I wanted
Yeah.
to be like, you're driving all three. I've been here as a fan for all three. Like, I did want to get his signature, I just wasn't able to because again, just the
Mm-hmm.
time. Because his table was kind of half blocked by the Valentino Rossi crowd
Right.
as well.
Yep.
So it was like hard to get to that. I just didn't have the time. It was like by the time I was done with Jake Dennis, they were already like moving people out, and it was like, it was a shame. But you know, I mean, I still got to meet
Yeah.
more than five drivers, and had five sign my bag. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
incredibly happy with that.
Yeah.
So
Um, which race was your favorite?
I knew this
Like, if you
question was
had
coming.
to pick one, which one
Uh,
was the best experience?
I'm gonna go with Spa.
Nice.
I think a lot of people, when I say this, have two reactions. Is either really not Le Mans, or is it because you met Jake Dennis? And I think, regardless of whether I met Jake Dennis or not, I would say Spa. And I think it's just because Spa is such an amazing track, such a beautiful track. Like, there are spots everywhere where you can watch the cars. Um, like Le Mans and especially the Nurburgring. There are so many places you just can't get to watch the cars. At Spa, you
Right.
can get to the whole thing. It's incredibly steep. Everything is uphill. The fan zone is quite literally the lowest point of the track of the whole like. So everything is uphill. But it's so beautiful. And also, I think the amount of support races they had. I think they had 4 support series, and so it meant that if you enjoy watching cars, it's the perfect thing for you.
That's awesome.
Um, Le Mans has Road to Le Mans, which I like the Le Mans Cup, so I was happy to watch that.
Yeah.
But then the other support races were like it was like a Porsche Sprint Challenge, a Ferrari, Mustang, sprint challenge I've never heard of. And it's like, it kind of just felt almost just, it felt like a lot of like people who have paid to be in a racing
Right.
series kind of
Yeah.
vibe. Like, it was like spec 911s and spec Mustangs. And so
Okay.
it kind of just felt like a pay series kind of
Right.
situation. And it was, to be honest, quite boring to watch those. So Le Mans had the most in terms of fan activities, though, by far. It's the biggest event. It's got a lot.
Right.
It's got so much. I played the new Mario Kart, which I didn't expect to be there. Uh, I like
Yeah.
went in and I was like, they've got the new Mario Kart. I'll give it a try. Uh,
Yeah.
but no,
That's fun.
Spa for if you're there for watching cars go fast, Spa is incredible
That's
and
good to know.
beautiful. And yeah, Spa was definitely my favorite. And also, the cars are unmuffled at Spa, so
Oh, nice.
if you want to hear
That's
them,
gonna be
if you want to hear
good
them,
sound. Yeah.
yeah. I
That's
thought they were loud at Le
fantastic.
Mans with the mufflers, and then I went to Spa, and I was so glad I bought earplugs.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm curious what the difference is going to be this year at Coda for WEC because I've spoken to some people who, were there last year and have heard the WEC cars this year, and they said that they're so much quieter. So I'm curious to hear that for myself. Um, but hopefully everybody really liked hearing your story about doing this. Thank you so much for
yeah,
taking, almost 45 minutes at this point to talk to me.